Yeah.
But why would you start talking about the royal family again, raking up things from 5 years ago? She says she's moved on. We all want her to move on. Why torpedo your own launch? And I was kind of disappointed because I watched that show.
Yeah.
I came away thinking, all right, she's moved on. This is a new Meghan, a new brand. We're seeing what's happening with her. Just let her go and do it. She's unconscious.
What was meant to be a bright celebration of Caribbean music and culture became something very different. The 2025 Caribbean Music Awards took place at the King's Theatre in Brooklyn, New York. Famous people, musicians, music producers, and social media personalities came together to recognize some of the world's most talented performers. But during the busy red carpet event, something much more surprising happened. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, came to the event expecting to be welcomed as an important guest. However, she was stopped at the entrance, had problems with security staff, and was finally asked to leave while cameras were recording everything. For Meghan, who has been working for years to find her place among American celebrities, this wasn't just embarrassing, it was devastating. To understand why this night was so damaging for Meghan, we need to look at what the Caribbean Music Awards represented. This wasn't just any entertainment event. This was a celebration of culture, talent, and community, exactly the kind of event where Meghan has been trying to position herself as an important cultural figure. The King's Theatre in Brooklyn is a beautiful, historic venue that has hosted countless prestigious events. For the Caribbean Music Awards, it was packed with genuine celebrities, respected artists, industry executives, and cultural leaders. The red carpet was buzzing with photographers, entertainment reporters, and fans who had come to see their favorite performers. This was supposed to be Meghan's moment to show that she belonged in this world. After years of struggling to establish herself in American celebrity culture, after failed business ventures and declining popularity, she needed a win. She needed to be seen at an important event, surrounded by respected people, looking like she belonged. Instead, she got the exact opposite, and the whole world was watching. This was a complete embarrassment. This wasn't quiet rumors in gossip magazines. This was public rejection that happened live in front of photographers, people at the event, and fans. People who saw what happened said Meghan arrived at King's Theatre with her assistants and, importantly, photographers. The fact that she brought her own photographers tells us everything about her intentions. This wasn't about supporting Caribbean music or celebrating culture. This was about getting pictures of herself at an important event. She was planning to use this night for her own publicity, to show the world that she was still relevant, still important, still someone who got invited to exclusive events. This action showed she expected to walk the red carpet. But right from the beginning, there were problems. When her team went to the check-in area, security looked at the guest list and could not find her name. That's when problems started. People watching said that Meghan claimed she had been invited. Reports say she spoke loudly, asking to speak with event organizers. Imagine being in that situation. You brought photographers. You've gotten dressed up. You've told people you're going to this important event. And then security can't find your name on the list. For most people, this would be the moment to quietly leave and figure out what went wrong. But Meghan isn't most people. She has spent years believing that her royal title and celebrity status should open doors for her. She has gotten used to people making exceptions for her, bending rules for her, giving her special treatment because of who she is. So when security said her name wasn't on the list, she didn't accept it. She fought back. She spoke with event organizers and told staff that she was a Duchess of Sussex. However, security did not change their position. Her name was not on the list, and without being listed, she could not enter. The situation became more tense with Meghan reportedly insisting that people expected her to be there and that her attendance was important. Think about what this says about how Meghan sees herself. She genuinely believed that being the Duchess of Sussex should be enough to get her into any event she wanted. She thought that her royal title was like a magic key that could open any door, get her into any party, make her welcome anywhere. But here's the thing about American culture that Meghan seems to have never understood. We don't care about royal titles the way British people do. In America, you earn your place through talent, achievement, and respect. You can't just show up somewhere and expect to be let in because you married a prince. Security would not change their decision. People at the event who were nearby said the situation was both uncomfortable and surprising. A woman who once had worldwide royal status was now having an argument at the entrance of an event that clearly had not invited her. The people watching this unfold couldn't believe what they were seeing. Here was someone who used to attend state dinners and royal galas, arguing with security guards at a music award show in Brooklyn. The contrast was shocking and embarrassing. When Meghan would not leave, more staff members came to help. Eventually, security guided her away from the entrance area. Photographers recorded the whole incident. Meghan appeared very angry. This is where the situation went from embarrassing to catastrophic. If Meghan had accepted the security's decision and left quietly, this might have been a minor story that got forgotten quickly. But by refusing to leave, by making security escort her out, she turned a private embarrassment into a public spectacle. Her assistants rushed around and staff members prevented her from going inside. Those pictures are now popular online, shown in gossip magazines and social media posts around the world. The meaning was very clear. Meghan Markle was not wanted there. The images that came out of that night are devastating for Meghan's reputation. You can see her looking frustrated and angry. You can see security guards treating her like any other person who doesn't belong at an event. You can see her assistants looking embarrassed and confused. These aren't the kind of pictures that make you look like an important celebrity. These are the pictures that make you look desperate, entitled, and out of touch. This was not just a private embarrassment. It was something everyone could see. The Duchess was outside, refused entry and told to leave. For someone who has worked hard to manage her public image, this was the worst possible situation. Meghan has always been obsessed with controlling how she looks in public. She hires expensive public relations firms. She carefully plans her appearances. She tries to manage every detail of how she's presented to the world. But you cannot change video footage that shows security stopping you at the entrance. You cannot make people forget the quiet laughter and comments from guests inside. Meghan went to the Caribbean Music Awards hoping to gain respect, but left feeling ashamed. Within a few hours, Meghan's public relations team reportedly tried to explain the incident as a misunderstanding, saying she had received unofficial invitations and the problem was just about organization. This is where we can see how Meghan's team operates. Instead of taking responsibility for what happened, instead of admitting that maybe they made a mistake, they immediately tried to spin the story. They wanted people to believe that this was all just a big misunderstanding, that Meghan really was supposed to be there. But that explanation failed quickly. Event organizers made a public statement saying clearly that Meghan was not on the official guest list. The public did not believe the explanation. The popular video showed what really happened. She argued, she was refused entry, and she was removed from the area. When event organizers have to make a public statement saying you weren't invited, that's about as clear as it gets. There was no misunderstanding. There was no unofficial invitation. Meghan simply showed up to an event where she wasn't wanted. The fact that the organizers felt they needed to make this public statement tells us how much attention this incident was getting. They wanted to make sure everyone knew that they hadn't invited Meghan, that this wasn't their fault, that they had nothing to do with the embarrassing scene that unfolded. So the evening that was meant to celebrate Caribbean music ended with Meghan Markle being forced to leave Brooklyn's King Theatre. The difference could not have been more embarrassing. Musical artists were celebrated on stage while Meghan argued outside, trying to prove she should be allowed in. It was public rejection unlike anything she had experienced before, and the cameras made sure everyone around the world could see it. The pictures of Meghan Markle being stopped and removed from Brooklyn's King Theatre spread around the world within hours. Before we continue with what happened next, I want to hear from you. Have you ever seen a celebrity fall from grace this quickly and this publicly? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're finding this analysis eye-opening, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you want more content like this. Also, make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on because the royal drama never stops, and neither do we. There's always more to uncover about what's really happening behind the scenes. Now, let's get back to the story, because what happened after the Brooklyn incident was somehow even worse than the incident itself. But what happened after the 2025 Caribbean Music Awards controversy might have been even worse than the embarrassment itself, because it was not just about Meghan being refused entry. It was about what followed. No support from Harry, anger from musicians, mockery from the public, and a publicity team that could not fix the problem. When celebrities face public embarrassment, they usually have a support system. They have friends who defend them, colleagues who speak up for them, family members who stand by them. They have people who help them get through the crisis and rebuild their reputation. Meghan had none of that. She was completely alone. Maybe the most obvious part of the evening was that Prince Harry was not there. While Meghan came to Brooklyn, ready to make a big entrance, Harry stayed thousands of miles away in California. That choice was not by chance. Harry's absence from this event speaks volumes about the state of their relationship and his feelings about Meghan's behavior. For years, Harry and Meghan presented themselves as a team, always supporting each other, always appearing together at important events. But lately, we've been seeing Harry distance himself from Meghan's more controversial appearances. He seems to have learned that being associated with her publicity stunts only damages his own reputation. People close to them say Harry is becoming less willing to join Meghan at these attention-seeking events because he worries about another public disaster. In this situation, his decision not to come said a lot. Harry has been embarrassed by Meghan's behavior before. His watch as she's made scenes at other events, as she's created controversy where none needed to exist, as she's alienated people who could have been allies. By staying away from Brooklyn, Harry was protecting himself. He was showing that he didn't want to be part of whatever Meghan was planning. He was creating distance between himself and her increasingly desperate attempts to stay relevant. To many people watching, it seemed like Harry already knew Meghan was not on the guest list, or even worse, that he simply did not want to be connected to her attempt to get into an event uninvited. This raises serious questions about what's happening in their marriage. If Harry knew that Meghan wasn't really invited to this event, why didn't he stop her from going? If he didn't know, what does that say about their communication? Either way, Harry's absence made Meghan look even more isolated and desperate. For a married couple that once presented themselves as always together, the picture of Meghan by herself arguing at the entrance was a strong sign of problems in their relationship. The response on social media was immediate and harsh. Hashtags like Brooklyn Boot, Duchess denied, and not on the list became popular topics within hours. TikTok users created videos that combined footage of Meghan being stopped at the entrance with clips from her Oprah interview, making fun of her statement that she wanted a private life. Social media has become the place where celebrity reputations live or die. When something goes viral for the right reasons, it can make someone's career. When it goes viral for the wrong reasons, it can destroy them. The Brooklyn incident went viral for all the wrong reasons. Within hours, millions of people around the world were seeing videos of Meghan being refused entry, being escorted away by security, looking angry and embarrassed. But it wasn't just the original footage that was damaging. Social media users began creating their own content, making jokes, creating memes, editing the footage in ways that made Meghan look even worse. Users on Twitter, now called X, nicknamed her the Duchess of Gatecrash and made jokes that even Hollywood private parties have better security than the royal family. One popular internet joke showed the King's Theatre sign changed to say, "Not you, Meghan." Another one had Meghan edited into a photo as a security guard outside her own Netflix show. These memes and jokes weren't just funny, they were cruel. They turned Meghan into a figure of ridicule, someone people laughed at rather than respected. They spread around the world faster than any official statement or explanation could. Once again, Meghan had become someone the whole world was making fun of. And unlike previous controversies that eventually died down, this one seemed to have staying power. The images and video from Brooklyn were too perfect, too clear, too obviously embarrassing to be forgotten. But the most harmful criticism came from people in the Caribbean community itself. Several musicians and people involved in the event privately said they were angry, claiming Meghan tried to take over a night that was never supposed to be about her. This is perhaps the most damaging aspect of the whole incident. Meghan has spent years trying to position herself as someone who supports diverse communities, someone who understands different cultures, someone who can be a bridge between different worlds. But the reaction from the Caribbean community showed that they didn't see her that way at all. They saw her as someone who was trying to use their event for her own publicity, someone who was trying to make their special night about herself. This event was meant to celebrate Caribbean culture. One person involved with the event reportedly said, "We're not giving Meghan Markle another publicity opportunity." That quote tells us everything we need to know about how the Caribbean community views Meghan. They don't see her as an ally or supporter. They see her as someone who takes advantage of other people's events for her own benefit. This is especially damaging because it fits into a larger pattern of criticism about Meghan. People have accused her of using causes and communities to boost her own profile, rather than genuinely caring about the issues. When the very people you claim to support publicly reject you, it's impossible to maintain your reputation as someone who cares about social justice and cultural diversity. For Meghan, this situation is particularly harmful. She has spent years trying to present herself as an important cultural figure around the world. But this event strengthened the belief that she forces herself into situations where she is not wanted. Instead of being accepted as a supporter, she was viewed as something that took attention away from the real purpose. This is the opposite of what Meghan wanted to achieve. She wanted to be seen as someone who elevates important causes. Instead, she was seen as someone who diminishes them. As people expected, Meghan's team rushed to change how the story was told. They suggested the narrative that there was a misunderstanding, saying she had received unofficial invitations. However, this explanation quickly failed. Meghan's public relations strategy has always been based on controlling the narrative. When something bad happens, her team immediately goes to work trying to change how people understand it. They plant stories in friendly media outlets. They give quotes to sympathetic journalists. They try to reframe embarrassing incidents as misunderstandings or attacks. But the Brooklyn incident was different. The evidence was too clear. The footage was too damaging, and the public reaction was too strong for any amount of spin to work. Event organizers made a direct statement. Meghan was not on the official guest list. Even worse, people who saw what happened disagreed with this explanation, describing how Meghan claimed she had the right to enter and had arguments with staff members. When multiple sources are contradicting your official story, when there's video evidence that shows what really happened, when the event organizers themselves are publicly saying you're wrong, there's no amount of public relations work that can save you. She only left when security staff made her go. The harm was already done. The attempt to change the story was not just unsuccessful, it made things worse, making Meghan appear both needy and untruthful. By trying to spin the story, Meghan's team actually made her look worse. Instead of looking like someone who made an honest mistake, she looked like someone who couldn't accept responsibility for her actions, someone who would lie to protect her reputation. The Brooklyn disaster is not just another embarrassing incident. It represents how Meghan's believability is falling apart. There was a time when she could attend fancy events, get speaking opportunities, and receive respect as a duchess. To understand why Brooklyn was so devastating for Meghan, we need to look at where her career was before this incident. She was already struggling. Her business ventures were failing. Her media deals were disappointing. Her public approval ratings were declining. She needed something to turn things around, something to remind people why they should care about her, something to show that she was still relevant and important. Brooklyn was supposed to be that something. Instead, it became the moment that confirmed all the worst things people believed about her. Now, she is being refused entry at doors. Hollywood business people notice this, charity supporters notice this, and the public certainly notices this. Meghan is no longer the attractive royal who became a person helping others. The entertainment industry is brutal. It's based on perception, reputation, and relevance. When you're seen as someone who gets thrown out of events, who argues with security guards, who can't even get invited to award shows, you're seen as someone who's no longer worth doing business with. She is the woman people make fun of for being removed from an event where nobody even wanted her. The King's Theatre incident was not meant to focus on Meghan. It was supposed to be about music, culture, and celebration. But Meghan Markle changed it to be about herself. This is a pattern that has defined Meghan's post-royal career. She takes events that are supposed to be about other things, charitable causes, cultural celebrations, community achievements, and tries to make them about herself. People notice this pattern. They see that she's more interested in getting attention than in actually supporting the causes she claims to care about. They see that she uses other people's events as opportunities for her own publicity. And eventually, people get tired of it. They stop inviting her. They stop taking her calls. They stop pretending that her presence adds value to their events. She suffered the consequences with Harry not there, musicians angry, social media being cruel, and her publicity team being shown as ineffective. This embarrassment will be remembered. The consequences of Brooklyn go far beyond just one embarrassing night. This incident has damaged relationships that Meghan spent years trying to build. It has confirmed negative opinions about her that were already forming. It has shown the world that she's not the important cultural figure she pretends to be. The music industry is relatively small and very connected. Word spreads quickly about people who cause problems, people who aren't professional, people who try to crash events where they are not wanted. Meghan's behavior at Brooklyn will be remembered by music industry executives, event planners, and artists. They'll think twice before inviting her to future events. They'll worry that she'll create drama, cause problems, or try to make their events about herself. It brings up the more important question: has Meghan moved from being someone people argue about to someone people completely ignore? Because if the Brooklyn incident proved anything, it showed that no royal title, no Netflix contract, and no amount of publicity work can push her into places that do not want her there. This is the most damaging realization of all. For years, Meghan could rely on her royal connection to get her into places, to get her meetings, to get her opportunities. People might not have liked her, but they respected her title and her celebrity status. Brooklyn showed that even that power is gone. Her royal title didn't matter to the security guards. Her celebrity status didn't matter to the event organizers. Her publicity team couldn't fix the situation. She's now just another person trying to get into events where she's not wanted, just another celebrity whose relevance is fading, just another public figure that people are starting to ignore. The more she tries to force her way into places, the more strongly the world rejects her. So here's the important question: does Meghan Markle still matter to people? There's a saying in Hollywood: you're only as good as your last project. For Meghan, Brooklyn might have been her last project, not a movie or a TV show or a business venture, but a public appearance that showed the world exactly where she stands. Or has the Brooklyn incident started her complete fall into being ignored by everyone? Consider this situation. The Duchess, who once attended royal fancy events with news media from around the world paying attention to her, was refused entry at the entrance of a music awards show in Brooklyn, while cameras were recording everything. The contrast is stark and undeniable. Just a few years ago, Meghan was walking red carpets at royal events, meeting world leaders, giving speeches to international audiences. She was photographed by the world's most prestigious publications, interviewed by the most famous journalists, treated as someone whose opinions mattered. Now she's being stopped at the door of a music award show in Brooklyn, arguing with security guards, being escorted away while people laugh and take videos with their phones. Event organizers clearly stated she was not on the guest list. Musicians were upset that she tried to take over their special night, and social media turned her into a joke with a hashtag Duchess Denied. So what will happen next? This is where we are now. Meghan has become a cautionary tale about what happens when celebrity status goes to your head, when you lose touch with reality, when you believe your own publicity too much. She's become someone that other celebrities avoid, that event planners don't invite, that media companies don't want to work with. She's become a liability rather than an asset. Can Meghan recover from this embarrassment? Or has her public image officially fallen apart into desperation and trying to get into events uninvited? Recovery is theoretically possible for anyone. Public figures have come back from worse scandals, worse embarrassments, worse public relations disasters. But recovery requires several things that Meghan seems unwilling or unable to provide. First, it requires genuine accountability. You have to admit that you made mistakes, that you behaved poorly, that you need to change. Meghan has never shown any willingness to do this. She always blames others: the media, racism, the royal family, misunderstandings. Second, it requires stepping back from the spotlight and doing the work to rebuild your reputation quietly. You have to prove through your actions, not your words, that you've changed. Meghan seems incapable of stepping back from the spotlight. She needs constant attention, constant validation, constant proof that she's still important. Third, it requires having something valuable to offer. You need skills, talents, or contributions that make people want to work with you despite your past problems. Meghan's track record since leaving the royal family shows a pattern of failed projects, disappointing performances, and missed opportunities. I want to hear what you think in the comments. Write "still relevant" if you believe Meghan can fix her reputation and find an important place in celebrity culture, or write "completely finished" if you think the Brooklyn incident proved that the world has moved past her and Meghan's time of getting attention is over. Because one thing is clear: the Brooklyn disaster was not just a mistake. It was a message. It was a world telling Meghan that her time is up, that her royal title can't protect her anymore, that her celebrity status won't get her into places where she's not wanted. The Brooklyn incident isn't just about Meghan Markle. It's about how celebrity culture is changing, about how the public is becoming less tolerant of entitled behavior, about how social media can destroy careers faster than ever before. For decades, celebrities could get away with bad behavior because they control the narrative. They had publicists who could spin stories, journalists who would write favorable pieces, fans who would defend them no matter what. But social media has changed all of that. Now everyone has a camera. Everyone can record video. Everyone can share their perspective instantly with millions of people around the world. When Meghan was escorted out of the King's Theatre, dozens of people filmed it. The footage was shared instantly across multiple platforms. Within hours, millions of people had seen exactly what happened, from multiple angles, with no filter or spin. This new reality is terrifying for celebrities who are used to controlling their image. They can't rely on their publicists to manage the story anymore. They can't count on friendly media outlets to present their side of things. They have to actually behave well. Because if they don't, the whole world will know about it immediately. Meghan seems to have never adjusted to this new reality. She still acts as if she can control how people perceive her, as if she can spin any story in her favor, as if a celebrity status will protect her from the consequences of her actions. Brooklyn showed that those days are over. The public saw exactly what happened, and no amount of publicity work could change their minds about what they witnessed. To understand why Meghan behaved the way she did in Brooklyn, we need to look at the psychology of entitlement. When people become accustomed to special treatment, when they start to believe that rules don't apply to them, when they lose touch with how normal people live, they can begin to act in ways that seem incomprehensible to others. Meghan spent several years as a working royal, during which she was treated with extraordinary deference. Doors opened for her everywhere. People rearranged their schedules to accommodate her. She was welcomed at events around the world simply because of her title and status. This kind of treatment can be addictive. It can make you believe that you deserve special treatment, that you're fundamentally different from other people, that normal rules and social conventions don't apply to you. When Meghan left the royal family, she lost that automatic deference. But she seems to have never accepted this loss. She still expects to be treated like royalty, still believes that her status should open doors for her, still thinks that event organizers should make exceptions for her. The Brooklyn incident was a result of this psychological disconnect. Meghan genuinely believed that she should be allowed into the event despite not being on the guest list. She couldn't understand why her royal title and celebrity status weren't enough to get her in. This kind of entitled thinking is not only unattractive to the public, it's also self-destructive. It prevents people from accurately assessing situations, from building genuine relationships, from contributing real value to the world. While this analysis is focused primarily on Meghan, we can't ignore the impact that her behavior has on Prince Harry. His absence from Brooklyn speaks volumes about the state of their relationship, and his feelings about her increasingly desperate attempts to stay relevant. Harry has already sacrificed his relationship with his family, his royal privileges, and his life in Britain for Meghan. He has stood by her through numerous controversies, defended her against critics, and supported her various business ventures. But there's a limit to how much damage one person can absorb on behalf of their spouse. Harry has his own reputation to protect, his own project to pursue, his own relationships to maintain. By staying away from Brooklyn, Harry was sending a clear message that he didn't want to be associated with whatever Meghan was planning. He was protecting himself from the inevitable embarrassment that seems to follow Meghan's public appearances. This separation between their public activities suggests serious problems in their partnership. If they can't appear together at events, if Harry is actively avoiding being seen with Meghan at her publicity opportunities, what does that say about their marriage and their shared future? For Harry, Meghan's behavior at Brooklyn creates additional problems. It makes him look like he either can't control his wife's behavior or doesn't care enough to try. It raises questions about his judgment in marrying her and his decision to leave the royal family for her. Meghan tried to push her way into a situation where she was not welcome and people rejected her. In our upcoming video, we will discuss the even more important question: what will Meghan and Harry do now? The Brooklyn incident has closed many doors for Meghan, but it's not necessarily the end of her story. She still has options, though they are much more limited than they were before. She could choose to step back from public life, focus on private pursuits, and try to rebuild her reputation slowly and quietly. This would require genuine humility and self-reflection, qualities that she hasn't shown much evidence of possessing. She could double down on her current strategy, continuing to seek attention through controversy and publicity stunts. This path seems more likely given her past behavior, but it's also more likely to lead to additional embarrassments and further damage to her reputation. She could try to reinvent herself entirely, finding new areas where her past controversies might be less relevant. But this would require developing new skills and making genuine contributions rather than just seeking attention. With Hollywood keeping its distance, financial supporters leaving, and even security guards refusing them entry, is this the time when the Sussex plan finally fails completely? The entertainment industry has made its judgment clear. Major studios are less interested in working with Meghan and Harry. Streaming services are not renewing their contracts at the same levels. Publishers are less enthusiastic about their book projects. This trend is likely to continue as long as Meghan keeps generating negative publicity. Businesses don't want to be associated with controversy, especially when that controversy doesn't translate into profits or positive attention. So remember to click like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because the Meghan Markle story is not just about controversy anymore. It is about staying relevant. And Brooklyn might be the moment when that became impossible. What do you think happens next for Meghan and Harry? Can she recover from this level of public embarrassment, or is this the beginning of the end for her celebrity aspirations? Have you ever seen a public figure fall from grace this dramatically and this publicly? I want to hear all your thoughts in the comments below. Don't hold back. This is one of the most dramatic celebrity downfalls we've witnessed in recent years, and your perspectives help shape how we analyze these situations. If this deep dive into the Brooklyn incident opened your eyes to something you hadn't considered before, smash that like button to help more people see this analysis. The algorithm rewards engagement, and your likes help ensure that honest, thorough coverage like this reaches a wider audience. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell because celebrity culture never stops evolving, and neither do we. We're committed to bringing you the real stories behind the headlines, the analysis that goes deeper than surface-level gossip, the truth that other channels won't tell you. Share this video with anyone who's been following the Meghan and Harry saga. They need to understand how significant the Brooklyn incident really was and what it means for the future. This wasn't just another embarrassing moment. It was a turning point that might define the rest of Meghan's public career. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll continue analyzing what happens when celebrity dreams collide with reality. Until then, keep thinking critically about what you see in the media, and remember that the truth is often more complex and more interesting than the official story.